Okay, no. So I think you just nominated yourself. You're next.
I'll go a little deeper on the deeper on the tech side.
Okay.
So to answer your question,
introduce yourself.
Yep. Dave Doolin, pleased to meet you.
Dave, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Michelle.
And I'm answering a question from Michelle about how this differs from a match profile.
Right.
All right. The thing about you can have a match profile that has the general characteristics of a worker, say, of a person that's going to be employed, the general skill sets, what the kinds of general things they've done. What I'm talking about here is the current climate want sniper skills. They want somebody that can walk in and solve their problem right away. And what I thought about is, okay, if you want to do that, then you have to be able to describe the problem that you've solved in the past. So, for example, I didn't get your name, but Nicole, what kind of marketing you do, you would have, okay, I worked for this law office, I reported to this person in this time frame, and in this particular task, I wrote, I wrote monthly blog posts or weekly blog posts that were retransmitted to Twitter and Facebook and handle all the comments for those task closed. That's your task. That's a whole discrete. Now you may be doing 4 or 5 other things for that law office as well. Okay, and that's part of the profile for the job description, right? There's 4 or 5 different tasks, perhaps. But this will be one that's very tightly defined. So that goes on your profile. This is what you do. Not just like I blog for a law office, but exactly what you did, what kind of blogging, and who you reported to as one package.
Is this really the same idea? Because this sounds to me more like finding somebody you want to employ and actually pay. That to me more was, I need to find somebody who wants to do this for free with me and really be a partner.
I think it can be used for both.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the technology is independent. How you want to use the technology depends on, if you want to use it for an employment situation, that's one thing. Maybe some, recruiter could use it for an employment situation. But if I was hanging out with Walter, I'd want to know, okay, well, he knows how to run a road crew. And these are all the specific tasks for running a road crew.
Which niche would you target first?
I would target what I know how to do, just so that I would, right?
Yeah. Is it like consulting?
Scratch my own itch.
Yeah.
Well, it would be. So I've got like 30 years of work history. So I would just start, somewhere. I would take the bits that I could describe easily and wrap them up and send them out there as examples. That's what I would do. Somebody else might want to do it differently, which is fine.
So how does like LinkedIn, let's say, not accomplish this?
Monster.
I don't use Monster.
Yeah.
I don't see it on LinkedIn. I just don't see it. Now the recommendations on LinkedIn can be used if you have a very good. If you're good at giving recommendations, you can accomplish a lot of using recommendations. Like for my recommendations, when I recommend somebody on LinkedIn, I sort of give them the 5 W's and why it was important to me that they solve the problem as well as they solved it. But trying to get somebody else to do that for you, you practically have to write it for them. So it's a little, you're looking at, if you have like it's like think of the whole problem as kind of like a gemstone. And so you've got one facet of it, I'm looking at a couple of other facets of it. But the whole problem is, it's not an easy problem. It's a hard problem. So we'll chop a few more things off it. Team members for Trevor's endeavors, things for recruiters, things for matching up people for whatever. I'm not quite sure on your picture, but I sort of get it, right? A little fuzz. Well, when it comes clear to you, it'll be clear to me, right? Right. So, what do you think directly?
It sounds a lot like LinkedIn, but I mean certainly LinkedIn doesn't accomplish everything. I think maybe
LinkedIn would be an exit strategy.
I think LinkedIn is looking for an exit strategy of their own.
Anyway, continue that.
Yeah, but I mean LinkedIn certainly doesn't cover everything. I would just maybe try and find out like who is LinkedIn not helping and try and help them.
Right. That's really important, the who side of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think kind of where Trevor was going, what I think is kind of personally interesting is the whole founder aspect, which is I want somebody to work on this for free with me. that niche of it is personally interesting to myself,
Yeah.
but you know, I don't know if that's the niche that would actually pay.
Right. No, well, free doesn't pay.
No.
I don't know. I see the challenge in like how do you reduce the burden? Like it's hard enough to put up a resume on LinkedIn, right? Like,
It's
you're
hard.
very careful.
Yeah.
You know, you think a lot about what you want to put down.
Right.
So how do you reduce like? I find it hard for like a normal user to like upload like 10 years of work history.
Right.
And how do you like break that down? How do you make it easy for them?
Well, you don't, right, exactly. So you make it easy by doing the form fill-ins and all that kind of thing. And there's a whole lot of problems that come along with this. Like, I don't remember some of the foremen I worked for back in the, you know, whenever. I'm not even going to say when, but, you know, those kind of things. So, you know, it's going to solve some problems. It's going to bring up some problems. What do you think?
Well, I was saying one of the possible issues, though, is that a lot of these sites where you populate the information, like Yelp or a lot of these places,
Right.
the content that you populate doesn't, you don't own it after that. They own it. Like
Right.
they have the rights to do whatever they want with that information. The photos that you take, that you put on those sites, become their property. And so when you
Right, and I'm going to interrupt you.
Okay,
For a very good reason. My prototype demonstration, should I choose to do this, would simply write it as a WordPress plugin. And then anybody, you populate the semantic markup goes on your blog post, and then they can scrape it and use it if they want.
well, yeah, and that's an open source process,
Exactly.
and that's great, and I think that's awesome. But there are a lot of sites that don't have that, and people aren't aware of that,
Right.
and so they're saying, "Oh, it can't be an evil company. We'll just."
I've got
stuff on
ideas
it."
involving databasing and money and community building, but we're going to run out of money. I mean, we're already out of money. We're going to run out of time. Walter.
I know your background with microformats and forms, and that's your bread and butter in
Right.
WordPress. And I think that's there's definitely ways to make money with it, with licensing and database, and you're not necessarily trying to cash in on user data. There's other ways of monetizing this sort of thing. And I think for the rest of you guys, I work hand in hand with Dave, and I think one piece is that there's it's just going to ride a lot on, I think, on microformats and forms. So I think that's one specific, that's kind of the angle on it, is that LinkedIn, you go in there, you have a dialog box, it's like a profile. You know, oh yeah, I did this, I did it. Like Facebook, what are your interests, what are your hobbies, what do you do, you update. It kind of mimics that on a professional level. But what Dave's talking about is actually breaking this down semantically with going beyond markup, kind of staying on the next, kind of like web, whatever.
It's really like self-propelled, okay? So once you package everything up and write it all out, you send it out on the internet, it sort of self-propels. It goes out as a package.
It's one of those things where it's like now when you go to Google, if you do a search, like images, like things suddenly look different, and in your search, you know, the results are obviously, like, they look a lot better from, say, 5 years ago, and all that stuff happens on the back end, and there's just technology that happens, and that's what markup is, and that's what these forms and microformats are about, is eventually the data just gets structured into the average user. It's like, oh, it looks like this, but on the back end it's actually formatted differently.
Yeah. So your true business value here would really be to owning the format and being able to monetize the format, and having partners such as Google read and understand and specifically parse that format, because I mean, it's almost, to me, it sounds like the innovation is really the format and what the format can provide you, rather than, you know, I want to publish my resume or publish my history, which has already been done in various ways.
Right. Pretty much, yeah, close enough, yeah. Nicole, do you have anything to add?
I'm not technical whatsoever.
So you might use this.
Actually, that's a great point, though, for somebody that isn't technical.
This is the most important person in the room.
You're right, because most people, let's be honest, I mean, if we were to take a sort of a cross-section of America, most of us are not technical. If you look at, like, percentages, right? I mean, we sort of live in this microcosm here that is not exactly reflective of the rest of the country as a whole, and, you know, to say the least, right? I mean, you know, I don't think that's any great revelation, but you know, let's just say that you aren't technical.
Okay, so I'm listening to what you're talking about, and it's one, like, I would go on there and post my resume. I always get scared of posting resumes or information because I'm scared somebody's going to take it. And then somebody else is going to have my resume, and they're going to apply for a job that I want, you know. And I know you can go and do, like, background checks and, like, interviews, but it's still, like, your thoughts on paper that somebody else can grab. Then another thing that concerned me, you said recruiters can go on and use it. Are you going to charge recruiters? Because if not, then
These
you're...
are excellent questions. So,
because you're doing the job for the recruiters.
security, monetization. And that's I didn't think of security because everybody already knows my stuff. If they don't, they need to know it. So, but no, I get, right? I mean, it's like, but no, I really get that. That's a really good thing to think of is security, validation, authentication, and monetization. Yeah, I think recruiters should pay for it. Hell yeah. You know, the user doesn't have to pay. The user does all the work, but the user gets access. I don't have time for you guys.
That is time.
I tried really hard.
It's great. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yep, absolutely. Who is next? Next on the chopping block.